Welcome to the Vibrant Visibility Podcast. Being visible as a soul-led business owner isn't just about the practical strategies, marketing tips, and tech systems. It's also about the internal systems, the safety of your nervous system, the somatic connection, and the embodiment of being a badass CEO that will support you in all of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And I'm here to share all of that with you on this show. I'm your host, Shawnee Arsenault, a registered nurse turned visibility coach and business mentor for heart-centered coaches and healers. I created a six-figure coaching practice in my first year of business and scaled to multiple six figures my second year, all in the middle of getting pregnant with my first baby and becoming a new mama. If I can do this entrepreneurship thing, I know you can too. If you're ready to learn how to be a CEO in a way that feels aligned with your heart, become a lighthouse for the people that you're meant to serve, feel free to authentically express yourself and be a magnet for success, and grow your coaching business in a way that is sustainable and fulfilling, I can't wait to be in your ear along for the ride. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Vibrant Visibility Podcast. It is Shawnee here. And today I'm going to be talking about something that so many of my clients struggle with. I used to struggle with a lot, and I end up supporting a lot of my clients around this, which is the idea of chaos and the need for organization, like the idea that your business is very chaotic and you need some kind of organizational system to help you feel less overwhelmed. And while I think that organization can be a distraction from doing the maybe uncomfortable things like connecting with people, like offering people coaching calls, if you're feeling overwhelmed and scattered, sometimes a little bit of an organization overhaul in your business can be warranted just to kind of get you to feel a little bit more grounded and put together and like you have some direction. So I'm all about taking like a week or two to get really, really organized in your business and then move on, you know? So I've got you for today's episode. It's going to be all about finding kind of that sweet spot of simplicity in your systems so that you can create more flow and ease in your business. Okay. So I'm going to break down. I did a little bit of this in my live series, Soulful Systems for Sustainable Growth. I did a live series leading up to a big flash sale in my membership, which I'll talk about at the end of the episode. But I broke down in that live series the 4 magical categories that will help you kind of streamline and organize your business. And I'll also share some super simple systems and recommendations for platforms and things like that that can bring more peace to your day-to-day operations as a coach, as a business owner. All right, so let's get into it. This first piece I'm going to talk about here is like the 4 essential areas in your business that, when organized with the right systems, kind of help you create that order and flow. And these are the backbone of a business that feels manageable, that feels sustainable, and not chaotic and overwhelming. I even showed all of my audience inside of my Facebook group whenever I was doing this live series, the 4 different categories and how you even want to like separate everything in your business as far as like your Google Drive, your Canva account, everything where you store stuff for your business. You want to separate these into these 4 different categories. So the first category I'm going to talk about is admin operations. So with admin and operations, this is essentially the pieces of your business that make it run in the background. Okay, so I think of, whenever you file for an LLC or an S Corp, all of those documents need to go in one specific folder. Whenever I think of SOPs or standard operating procedures, if you don't know what an SOP is. Standard operating procedures are basically just a document that outlines step by step how to do a specific task in your business. So for example, I have an SOP for welcoming my new Facebook group members. I have an SOP for onboarding a new client. I also have an SOP for posting the promotion for this podcast. Like I have a step-by-step process for how I do these different tasks so that, I think SOPs are really important if this is just kind of an aside, but SOPs are really important if you end up hiring team members later on, if you end up hiring a virtual assistant or an OBM or a social media manager. Like these SOPs can be really, really helpful in training your new team members. And then also if you get to a point in your business where you eventually want to sell, that's needed. Like that's necessary for you to be able to sell your business. So, not that any of you are thinking about doing that, but just to kind of like plan for the future, to plan for all different types of scenarios, you want to have SOPs, and that goes inside of the admin and operations folder. I would also say that anything that has to do with your financials in your business is also kind of considered admin and operations. So I like to keep all of my spreadsheets. I like to, if I have like copies of receipts and stuff, I organize those into kind of like a financial subfolder inside of the admin and operations folder. So anything that has to do with finances, any like paperwork, any legal documents, like those types of things, that all goes inside of the admin and operations section of your business. And I want you to think about admin and operations as the machinery in the background that makes your business run. And so with admin and operations can also come different platforms that can kind of help you with some of this stuff, right? So if you have accounting software, if you have like a project management system that kind of automatically gives you like what tasks that you need to be working on, what tasks that you need to be remembering. Like, for example, I use a platform called Basecamp, and that's basically like kind of a project management system where you can separate your tasks into like different categories. And I get reminders every single time I need to pay taxes, every single time I need to turn in all of my reports to my bookkeeper. I have a task for every SOP that I create inside of my business to remind me to review it and update it. And I have those tasks come up regularly. So inside of Basecamp, I have everything separated into these 4 categories. And so everything that has to do with operations, admin stuff goes into that little section of Basecamp. But there are so many other systems that you can use for project management. There's Trello, there's Asana, there's Monday.com, ClickUp. Like I've used a lot of them. I've tested a lot of them. Basecamp is just kind of the one that works the best for me in my business, but it's going to look different for you. So I encourage you to do your research. And honestly, if you're at the point in your business right now where you don't need a really fancy project management system, I mean, Google Workspace is so good for this kind of stuff. You can create to-do lists inside of Google Workspace. You can manage a lot inside of Google. So I wouldn't worry too much about all those project management systems that I just talked about if you're kind of in the first stage of your business where you're just getting your feet wet, you're starting to practice your coaching and get really, really good at coaching and working on like those selling and connecting skills. I wouldn't even like just ignore everything that I just talked about. So that's the admin and operations side of your business. Now, the second category you want to be thinking about is marketing and sales. Okay, so everything that has to do with marketing and sales. So these are things like email copy, website copy, headshots, logo, and branding. I would also say anything that has to do with marketing for your specific offers. So if you have like a set of Canva slides that you can just take and recycle every time you launch a specific offer. Mostly the marketing and sales stuff that I find putting in my own folder for this is copy. Because I have this podcast, I have all of my podcast stuff inside of the marketing and sales folder because my podcast is one of the ways that I market. So I have outlines for all of my podcast episodes in here. I have content ideas. I have my content calendar spreadsheet. I have all kinds of stuff for marketing and sales in this folder. And then I have photos and blog posts and all kinds of stuff. And all of that is housed within this folder, right? So having a place where you can put all of this information, all of this content is going to be super, super helpful for you. And I highly, highly recommend that you keep all of your marketing content in one place because Otherwise, you'll be looking for your stuff in all of these different places. You're going to get overwhelmed very easily. You want to have a specific place where you can find those things without having to search for it. My marketing and sales folder is actually probably my most robust section of my business because there's a lot of, I create a lot of content. I create a lot of emails. I do a lot of live stuff. So and then I make podcasts every single week. So my marketing folder is very, very heavy. And, I've had a lot of photo shoots. I create a lot of Canvas stuff. So a lot of those things go inside of the marketing and sales folder. If you guys are needing a little bit more structure for how to set up your Google Drive, your storage system, I have a free 2-week trial of my membership, Tech Mastery for Coaches, where you can dive into the Organization Made Easy section of my membership. And this is the most popular section inside of my membership. It's the one that, most of my members rave about. It's the one that everybody usually starts with whenever they join the membership. So I have a little offer there where you can try that section for just 2 weeks. So I'll put that link in the show notes for you, but I kind of teach you how to separate everything into these 4 categories and even go through kind of like subfolders of what's happening inside of each category. So that's the marketing and sales part. This is also a place where you can organize inside your project management system what tasks are needed for what specific promotions you're doing. If you're launching a new offer, like what kind of things need to be done, and putting that inside of like the marketing and sales section of whatever project management system that you use. Again, it doesn't have to be super fancy. You can literally just make a Google task list for marketing and sales, for launches, for whatever it is that you're promoting. You don't have to use any of the fancy systems that I mentioned earlier, but having it separated from your financial stuff, from your admin stuff, Okay, the third section is programs and delivery. So this is the section where you have everything that has to do with your actual offers, your paying clients. So this is kind of where you get to organize and streamline your coaching materials, your resources that you give to your clients. I download all of the contracts that my clients sign and put them into this folder. This is where I house my client tracker. So I have a spreadsheet of all of my current clients and past clients. And I keep track of when I need to follow up with people, like where they are in the process of being my client. Are they at the very beginning and need to be onboarded? Do they need to have a client gift sent to them? Do they need to be sent a feedback form? Are they towards the end of their container? So I have all of that housed inside of my programs and delivery. And then I also have, I have so many worksheets and templates and resources for my current clients and for the people inside of my membership. And I house all of that inside of my programs and delivery. So anything that I deliver to the people that pay me for coaching or support or mentorship is housed inside of this section of my business and my Google Drive. And when it comes to organizing like your business flow in terms of managing your current clients and serving your current clients, I would have a separate like to-do list or section inside of your project management system that reminds you to check in with your clients, that reminds you to take a look at the spreadsheet of your current clients and get an overview of where everybody is at in their journey. I would have reminders for you to update your resources, to take a look at all of the templates that you have or the worksheets or the tools and resources that you offer your clients on a regular basis to update them. If you have like an online course or something like that, I would have a regular task to look at that course and update anything that needs to be updated. So those are the types of things you want to have inside of your programs and delivery piece of your business, of your organization system, of your Google Drive, Dropbox, iCloud, whatever that is. And then the final category that I want to talk about here is learning and development. Okay. So learning and development is anything that you do as a business owner, as a coach, to refine your skills, to up-level your coaching ability, and to improve your overall delivery of your services. So certification programs can be a part of this. Notes that you take from reading personal development books or podcasts, any resources that you gather from other programs, from, webinars that you attend or anything like that, that would go inside of the learning and development section. A sustainable business means investing in yourself, right? And investing in this part of your business consistently really ensures that you're going to grow alongside your business and be able to sustain the growth as you move forward. So I want you to set aside time each month for learning something new, right? Whether it's taking an online course, whether it's attending a webinar, whether it's reading a new book, anything that will contribute to the growth and up-leveling of your business, your skills, and the way that you're able to deliver coaching and support to your clients. So I have in my learning and development folder, I have so many different resources from like courses that I've taken, from even like little free offers that little freebies that I've downloaded from other entrepreneurs that I look up to. Like that goes all in my learning and development folder. So now I want to talk about just this super simple process for like storing and organizing files. Okay. Like let's talk digital organization. I know it's tempting to leave your files everywhere and then plan to clean it up later. But what if I told you that organizing your files as you go could literally save you hours down the line? That's one of the biggest tips that I have for all of my clients, for everybody in my membership, is organize as you go. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do here is create like a folder structure inside of your storage system. If you're not already using a cloud-based storage system like Google Drive or Dropbox or iCloud or whatever, I would highly, highly recommend you move all of your business stuff to some kind of cloud-based storage system. That way you have access to it wherever you are, whenever you need it. And if your computer crashes, you don't have to worry about things getting lost and then freaking out, okay? So cloud-based storage system. And then I want you guys to create a really easy to navigate folder structure for all of your files, starting with those 4 categories that I just talked about: admin and operations, marketing and sales, programs and delivery, and learning and development. And then inside of each of those 4 categories, you want to just separate things into kind of like subfolders that make the most sense for you. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you what kind of system to create within those 4 categories, because it's going to be different for every coach. You want to create a system, an organizational system that makes the most sense for your brain. Okay. So create that system, that structure for all of your files and keep it consistent. And once you have that structure in place, you want to really develop a couple of different habits. Okay. So the first habit that you want to develop early is naming your files right then and there. Like how many of you, let me paint a picture for you and just imagine this in your head. And I'm sure you guys have experienced this probably within the last like 24 hours of downloading a file to your computer, and then it gets saved as a combination of random letters and numbers. I want you guys to get into the habit of every time you download anything to your computer, whether it's a file, a video, whatever it is, I want you to get in the habit of renaming that file right then and there. Okay. So the main things I think about are if you can rename your file to describe what it is, that's best practice. And then if necessary, including like the date. It's not always necessary to include the date, but if it's something that, like for example, whenever I download Reels to my computer, sometimes I download Reels that I've already posted and it'll give me a chance to like repurpose them later. So whenever I download a Reel to my computer, I rename the video file with the date that it was posted and kind of a little short, like 5-6 word summary of what that Reel is. This is especially helpful if you're downloading files from Canva too. Like if you create a lot of like Canva stuff, downloading those things to your computer and renaming them with the date and the type of content that it is going to be so, so helpful. Same thing with any like receipts. Okay. So if you're downloading receipts for business expenses, including the date, I actually like to include the amount as well, and then what the expense was, and then putting it in the admin and operations folder under like your finances. So really get in the habit of renaming your files, in a way that will make the most sense to you, for you to know exactly what that file is, the date that's going to be important for you to know if you need to know the date, and just make that something you do without question right away. Like I said, organize as you go. The second habit that I want to talk about is your process for saving stuff, right? So after you download a file to your computer, automatically sort it into the folder that it goes in, right? So I just have it as part of my routine. If I download something to my computer, I immediately put it inside of one of the folders in my Google Drive right away, exactly where it needs to go. Whenever I create a new Google Doc, there's this cute little like folder icon at the top of Google Docs where you can just sort your stuff automatically. So whenever I create a new Google Doc, before I even start working on the Google Doc, I sort it into the folder that it goes into. So that's another habit that I want you guys to really implement early. And I promise you, it will save you so many hours of work later. It will save you a big headache of knowing like, okay, where is my stuff? And then with a cloud-based storage system, all of your files are automatically backed up, right? To prevent that stress of like losing important stuff. So I want you guys to remember these practices are so, so helpful, especially if you implement them as soon as possible and stay consistent with them. They're super small habits, they're super small practices, but it will add up later, and your future self, your future CEO self will thank you, okay? So get into the habit of doing these things really early. And then the last piece that I want to talk about here is, how do we create a system that feels completely aligned with your unique way of working? Your unique way of running your business, right? Your systems don't have to look like everybody else's. Like I even tell my clients inside of my membership, okay, yeah, I'm giving you guys an example of a structure, but if this doesn't work for you, tweak it to what works best for you, right? Let's find out what that looks like. So I always tell people to really work with your energy, okay? Like design your systems based on when your energy is highest. So for example, if you're someone who focuses really, really well in the morning, right? If that's your most productive time, schedule those tasks that you need to do in your business accordingly. Okay, if you feel overwhelmed by like really, really small tasks, create time blocks where you only focus on admin stuff. And that way you're not having to constantly switch between like one type of task to another. Which kind of goes into my next point here of like batching versus like the daily tasks. So if batching feels good, dedicate one day a week to creating content. If not, break it up into smaller, like little daily chunks. I like to tell people to use their intuition, to use their own energy as a guide here, right? Because you can always get advice and guidance from myself, from your coach, from other people inside of the community, inside of the coaching industry. But ultimately, there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no right or wrong way to run a business. And it really is going to depend on your own energy and what works the best for you. So being willing to try stuff and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, try something else. I personally love batching. And like if I'm going to record, I usually block off a good 2 to 3 hours to record everything that I need to record for that day. So pre-recording stories that I'm going to post on my Instagram, pre-recording for like reels that I'm going to make later. I like to pre-record my podcast and batch those things. If I'm going to do content for a program that I'm creating, I'm also going to add that in. Okay. So whenever it comes to content, I like to batch writing. I like to batch writing my captions, my emails, all into one. So I'm not constantly being pulled in different directions. Like writing takes a very different energy for me than recording and being on video. So that really works for me. But sometimes people really like the daily little tasks, like 15 minutes of recording here or 15 minutes of connecting here, right? Be willing to do some trial and error. And then finally, I want you guys to learn how to be flexible, okay? Systems and organization practices should adapt as your business grows. So the system that you have now might not be in alignment for your business a year from now, 2 years from now, right? The key is to keep your business systems and your organization system flexible so they can evolve with you. And the way that you can do this so that it's not overwhelming for you is have some kind of quarterly, either monthly or quarterly evaluation system. So revisit all of the systems in your business every quarter or month to see what's working and what needs tweaking. So I hope you're feeling inspired to, simplify your systems and create some ease in your business. Remember, I think the idea of organizing and kind of bringing all of that chaos together isn't about doing things perfectly. It's about creating systems that actually support you and how you work best. Don't be afraid to adjust and shift things as your business grows, as your needs change. I know a lot of you are kind of in this like black or white thinking, and there is so much gray area in this topic specifically about organizing your business. Your needs for your business are constantly going to change. The status of your business is going to constantly change. So just remembering that it doesn't have to be perfect. You can have a little bit of chaos, but keep it organized in some way, And I think it's also a good idea to just assess, like nervous system wise, on a deeper level, what is my level of comfortability with having things a little bit chaotic, but then trusting that everything is exactly where it needs to be, trusting that I don't need to hyperfixate on how messy things are and just pull out the important pieces. I know organization can be such a headache for a lot of coaches, for a lot of people in my community especially. So I highly encourage you, if you haven't checked out my 2-week free trial of that Organization Made Easy section of my membership, go check that out. So many people have reached out to me after signing up for that little trial and sharing with me how monumental it was to just have a place to start with organization. If you loved today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast, sign up for my newsletter, never miss an episode. If you want more help with organizing your business and becoming more efficient as a CEO, implementing those systems that align with who you are and the way you want to run things, I would love to invite you guys to join my Tech Mastery for Coaches membership. I am currently running a flash sale until October 18th, where you can get your first month for only $11. The initial sign-up fee is usually $457. So head to the link in the show notes to grab that deal before it's gone. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your week, and I will see y'all next time. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this was helpful for you, subscribe to the show to make sure you're always in the loop when a new episode is out. And I would love to invite you to join me in the free Visibility and Tech Support for Coaches community, where we hang out and chat about all things visibility, tech, systems, and heart-centered business building. I regularly share tips and tutorials and go live every now and then, and it's just nice to be in a community with other like-minded coaches and healers. So you can join this free space at alignwellco.com/community, and I can't wait to see you there.